hide your save games, and give a warm hug to all your mods because a new update is out there and it's coming to get them. I am exaggerating of course, but we still got a new update yesterday. I really wanted to get a video out also yesterday, but after 10 hours of work and looking pretty much like this, I figured it's probably better to get some sleep first. But here we are the morning after the day before, and I am ready to deep dive into all the changes that caught my eye in 42.12. So let's dive right into it then. Straight off the bat, IndieStone informs us about a potential problem with the fuel consumption for generators that would impact the existing saves on the game. Now, I've seen people on Reddit complaining that right now the generator wouldn't even last for a day. So if you're playing an ongoing playthrough and you are using a generator, it's worth checking if the consumption did increase. And if it did, you might want to go into the sandbox settings, and under the meta section there is something called generator fuel consumption, and you can tweak it there. Now, I normally treat generators as a very limited maintenance type of a thing, and I think a lot of us do, so it's worth making sure that you guys won't come back to your base with all the food rotten after a few days of looting, so keep that in mind. They also found a bug which was very last minute and they didn't manage to fix it in the update, and that is related to the, well, fueling the car from a fuel pump. Essentially, you're unable to cancel this action other ways than just pressing escape or sprinting away. Walking away won't do. So if you get attacked suddenly by a zombie and you just try to walk away, that's not gonna work. You're gonna die. So guys, be careful out there. Okay, but we gotta talk about what's probably the most important change for the gameplay in the 42.12 update, and that is a fix, an overhaul, call it any way you want, but a major change in which the firearms work. There's been tons of discussion online about guns being heavily nerfed in build 42, but these new recent changes will probably change the perspective on this. We are finally gonna get bonuses if we hit the zombie on the head. It was not the case before. And also, the shotguns have been fixed. Namely, you're now dealing damage with all the pellets that are gonna hit the zombie, not the single one that was used for targeting. So this is a major change, and it will finally make the shotgun play worthwhile again. I wanted to do a demonstration of these changes, but then I stumbled across an excellent post on Reddit by a user called Artimedias, and he made a fantastic breakdown of these changes and their impact, so I'm just gonna link the post and go check it out. It explains this much better than I would ever be able to. Moving on, we are getting some huge changes to the lighting system and also how visibility works. Essentially, you will no longer be able to see the interior of the room if it's behind a closed door, and the room will be blacked out. That was actually the first thing that caught my eye when I launched the game with the new update. Everything was so dark, but I think overall it's a really good change because we shouldn't essentially see what's behind closed doors and behind a wall. I mean, we don't have X-ray vision, so good job, IndieStone. 42.12 also adds a significant change in the way that we execute simple things. Drinking from a can, eating canned food, or smoking cigarettes used to take two separate actions, opening and then executing the action. Right now we are able to do it with a single click, so right click, open and drink, or open and eat. This is such a massive change, and it takes away that unnecessary clicking. I personally love it. This is also applicable for smoking cigarettes, so there is no longer the need to physically take out a cigarette from a pack before smoking it, and you can also drink by double clicking. I mean, it feels kind of crazy that it took the developers so long to change this, but we finally got it, so I can just say sincere thanks, IndieStone. You made my life easier now. Another small quality of life update, which used to be a mod and now is in the vanilla version of the game, is the fact that all the books, VHS tapes or CDs will have a green checkmark if we've read or watched them. And I want to take this opportunity to pay my respect to the creator of the Has Been Read mod, which was with me for years, and I will probably no longer need to use it. 42.12 continues with the trend of making changes to the way that crafting mechanics in the game work. Now, with this particular update, what we are getting as an example is the fact that we can mark a given item in our inventory as unusable for crafting purposes. This way, we are able to avoid using a specific thing in our inventory that we want to save for something else and accidentally wasting it on a different craft. I'm going to show you how it works now. As you can see in this example, I've got all the necessary materials to craft a crate trap, and the crafting option for this item is available. What I'm gonna do now is set the planks as unusable in recipes. Reopening the crafting menu will show that the crate trap is still there, and technically the planks are shown as 3 out of 3, so we technically have all the necessary materials, but the crafting option itself is not gonna be available, and that's because we decided not to use the planks in the crafting process. Now this could be something that would avoid, say, accidentally smelting some of your essential tools in the process of metalworking, or wasting some super rare ingredient for something very basic. I'm not sure if this is a function that I would personally use, but it's nice that we have it. And as you can see, after deselecting that option on the planks, I was able to craft a crate trap without any issues. They also added a new trait called Crafty, which works exactly the same way as Fast Learner, but limited only to crafting skills, and it costs less skill points. So it's kind of a in-between solution if you really want to get those experience bonuses, but don't want to spend so much skill points and want to be focused only on crafting skills. These are just a few. There are tons of different changes, including some updates to the browsing. I have not tested them myself. If you have, share your opinions in the comments. Let's all try to break down this new update together. The balance section of the update notes also has a few gems which I think are worth mentioning, starting with the fact that now vehicle-induced kills will be counted towards your overall kill count. Again, another thing which was fixed by a mod is now a vanilla version of the game. We are also getting rebalancing to the metabolics of the characters, which essentially is supposed to make weight management more manageable, especially for longer playthroughs. So I personally am looking really forward to that, as playing Winter is Coming is usually challenging in terms of managing your weight. Another welcome change is the fact that we've had modifications done to the capacity of drying racks. It was one of the most commonly complained things when 4211 came out. The fact that you were only able to dry a single piece of herb or plant on a drying rack was just nonsense, and it made drying completely useless. Right now this has been changed, and every single drying rack has a capacity of 20. Each plant added to the drying rack would have its own separate timer. These don't affect one another, and well, yeah, it makes drying reasonable again. Some other things I would like to draw your attention to is the fact that large hooks, which are now necessary items for the creation of the butchering hook, were added as a more frequent spawn item in all of the clutter in different, sheds, barns, and these types of locations. It's now also possible to craft your own large hook with a blacksmithing skill of, well, 1, so at a very early stage of the game. I'm also showing on the screen some other changes which caught my eye, some related to what you will learn as a character if you hit level 10 in a particular skill. I've never hit level 10 in anything, I think. I was never patient enough. And also, one of the most important changes that everybody is emphasizing: happiness has been added to chocolate milk. Huge change. We are also getting brand new cars, specifically NASCAR race cars. You are likely to find them in the Irvington racetrack. This is where I found this bad boy. Now, what I like the most? Well, it has the number 34 on it. And why do I like that? Well, 34 is the number I used to wear on my jersey when I was playing football, so it's kind of important to me. Now, we cannot neglect the fact that these cars have headlights and trunk space, and you guys probably know that regular race cars for the NASCAR series, they don't have headlights as far as I know, and they definitely do not have any trunk space. Still, I think they're kind of cool, so this is definitely something that I would be looking for to put into my garage. As with every version of the game, we did get tons of different bug fixes, but my impression is that this bug fix list is extremely long. And it just feels that maybe we are finally softening the rough edges and are getting closer to a stable version of the game, and we all know what that means, right? Multiplayer is hopefully not that far away. That is, of course, the game is not bug-free. I actually found some myself, but before I'm gonna show you some examples, I want to focus on a message that probably made a lot of people go like this.
I felt a great disturbance in the force, as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced. I fear something terrible has happened.
And this is the message I'm referring to. Scripts and recipes have been moved into Project Zomboid's Java code. Modders, do not worry, this does not change anything. Now, I am not a modder myself, but I do have some experience with IT from my corporate career, and whenever they tell you not to worry, this is where you panic. And essentially, I have seen people, including my own Discord community, who were complaining that mods stopped working or actually even bricked their entire saves. So there's definitely something to be worried about, but the extent of it, I don't know yet. So if you have any experiences with certain mods crashing the game or bricking your saves altogether, feel free to use the comments as a venting section. Speaking of bugs or mod issues I identified myself, I am using the Frockin' Splendor mod for some extra clothing items. Not only because they look badass, but they also let you wear additional layers of clothing and adding some extra protection. But after the 42.12 update, I am unable to wear at least some of them. It used to work before, now it doesn't. It was a very useful mode, so I hope it's gonna get fixed at some point. Finally, I saw some people mentioning on Reddit that the spear durability has been significantly nerfed, and since spears were my primary weapon ever since I made that episode of the masterclass about them, I was really worried about this. So I had to test it out in the field myself just to either confirm or deny this observation, and what I can say, from a very brief test that I've done, spears are fine. They still perform the way you would expect them to perform. I haven't noticed a significant drop in durability. They still deal an insane amount of damage. They are incredibly overpowered and they last long enough for me to be effective in combat. So spears are still good, guys. You're free to use them, thankfully. Okay, so to briefly wrap things up, it's been a month and a half ever since the last update, if I'm not mistaken. We are now at the end of September, so if Indie Stone follows the same cadence, we could expect something coming late November or maybe early December. With all the bug fixes which were implemented in this version, I am feeling, or maybe it's just my naive hope, I am feeling that we are gonna get multiplayer before the end of the year, maybe as a Christmas gift. I myself cannot wait for that. I'm pretty sure I haven't covered everything that's essential in this update. I've been doing this in between calls at work, so if I missed anything important, guys, please make sure to use the comment section to add that extra context or your observations. They are always very welcome. And before we go, just a quick shout out to all the tier 3 channel members. Thank you for all the support, guys. This is much appreciated. If you want to support the channel, there are ways to do so. I'm sure you'll find them. The link to my Discord is in the description of the video. But guys, I'm done yapping for today. Thank you for staying till the end of the video. Please leave a like if you found it informative. And I guess that's it. So as always, I'm Gertrix. Cheers.